This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' three-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.
G'day everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Ads and Dunks podcast, as always brought to you by the Oz American Aces. It's Dunks here, one of your hosts, and joining me on the line for a big week it's Adsy Treloar, 250 games this week. We're going to go into it. It's going to be a massive episode. How are you going, mate? Are you feeling good? How are the nerves? Obviously a massive week for you.
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you, mate. Thanks for the little introduction. I'm still at 249 though, so nearly at 250. But no, I'm feeling good, mate. It's obviously a 5-day turnaround for us. So today being Tuesday, we only played 2 days ago and we're playing another 3 days. So I guess it's a really quick week, and, you know, I'm glad it's not a long week where it can be drawn out, so we can, you know, get over all the formalities, all the congratulations, and I can just play.
How many text messages have you got so far this week, mate?
I've had a few. I've had a few already, but as I've said, there's still a couple of days left prior to the game. So, yeah, I've had a few, man. It's been a couple of nice ones. Actually, Pendles and I actually messaged each other today, and that was really nice. I mean, he's obviously celebrating his 400th game, which is shits all over my 250. But yeah, he's an incredible player, and it was very nice to hear from him and wish me all the best. And obviously the same goes for him as well. He's a true champion of our game, so it's pretty cool to share a milestone round. But yeah, it's going to come quickly.
Well, I was going to say, because I actually saw a post by, I think it was AFL House, right? So this week is, obviously you said yourself, milestone, 250, Pendles 400. Ryan Lester, so one of our boys, it's his 200th game this week, which is awesome achievement from Froggy, who's one of the heart and soul players of our footy club. So congrats to Frog. Luke McDonald, 200 games.
Wow.
And then there's like Alir 150, Kyle Langford 150, Jack Martin 150, Caleb Sarong 100. And then there's a few 50 gamers as well. So there's like that many miles. It's like milestone round.
There is a milestone round, and we've got a couple 50 game players. I think Lockie McNeil and might have another one playing as well. So you're right. It's all come in the 1 week.
It has. So before we move on, I've got to give a little shout out, because I was just at our player sponsors dinner, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or we had a bit of a meet and greet with our player sponsors, and Robin and Ali were there, and they said that they listen to the podcast every Wednesday night. So I had to give them a shout out from the top, because I said I would. So they said they love you and I, mate, and they're big supporters of ours. So thank you. I just wanted to give them a little shout out. So they'll be listening tomorrow night, and I'm sure they'll take plenty of love out of that.
I appreciate it, mate. I love when our fans give us a bit of love. As I turn my head here, you're going to see me turn my head quite a bit, because I've actually got my iPad on with the Olympic Games on. I do not miss, well, I try not to miss an event. So I'll keep you updated, mate, on the live events that are happening. Our Aussies, our Boomers play soon against Canada as well, which is really exciting. I love watching our Aussies in action, which their first game, I'm not sure if you watched it. That was on the Saturday night, mate. They played unreal.
Yeah, that was after our game, and I remember hearing about it. Everyone was saying Giddy's popping off. So great outing from the boys first up.
It is, mate. It's such a I know we didn't really touch on the Olympics last week. We mentioned it, but I mean, now that we're obviously, you know, living through it, I mean, it's just the most exciting. I feel like it's one of the most exciting periods, like, to be alive, I guess. Like the 2 weeks or the 2.5 weeks that the Olympics are on, everyone's always talking about it. There's highlights on galore. If you've got Channel 9 on, it's just nothing other than the Olympics, and then the news will occasionally come on, but it's just all the Olympic events, and you get to watch all these superstar athletes who, you know, you don't, with all due respect to them, you rarely see or hear of them in the 3 years prior to the actual Olympic event happening. And then you see them and you're just blown away by, you know, how much or how good they are at their event, and you're blown away by everything. And, mate, you find yourself watching the skateboarding, the equestrian, the the gymnastics, all these events that you never would watch that you end up watching. So it's such a cool time.
Oh, I agree. I found myself watching what's the sword fighting one called? Fencing.
Yeah, the fencing.
I was watching that last night. You're right. Different things pop up.
And I tell you what I did think about,
it's funny.
which, we can't put ourselves in these shoes or their shoes, but imagine like being in a sport where the ultimate happens once every 4 years and you've got to work your ass off to get there, and then you go and do an event or your event and say it's, swimming or whatever, and you lose in the heat or whatever it may be, how much that would hurt and how much, like, I watched our boxer, Garside. I think, what's his last name?
Harry
Garside, I think. He, he medaled at the last games and he had his first fight. So there's obviously expectation. He's going to come out and hopefully medal. He had his fight and lost. And, mate, I'm not sure if you've seen the interview, but, mate, I was almost in tears because he felt like he let everyone down and how disappointed he was more about everyone else rather than himself. And I just wanted to jump into the screen and, like, wrap my arms around him and tell him, mate, like, we're all so proud of you. Like, freaking, you're an Australian on the biggest stage. Like, no one else is there. Like, good on you, man. Like, yeah. So, I can't imagine being someone who goes to these games and tries to compete and obviously doesn't have the success that they want and how they would deal with that. It must be so challenging.
Yeah, it would be. It would be heartbreaking. And I remember I actually saw the interview that you're talking about as well. And imagine just doing a calf or something over there where you can't perform. Like, you've worked 4 years and your time comes and you can't actually compete. Like, there's so many of those stories that go around which would be absolutely heartbreaking. But it's great to see the best of the best going at it. Did you watch the Molly and Titmus race this morning?
Oh, mate, I set my alarm for 4:00 and watched all the swimming finals, and coincidentally, our one was the last one. So, yeah, mate, I was up. I watched it. I was in my bed watching it, but I had to sit up and watch it because I was stressing out. And I mean, another incredible story. Molly was actually going to be my bloom of the week, but there's another athlete that I'm going to make my Brookes Bloom of the week. And I'm not going to mention her yet. I will a bit later, but I was going to give it to her because her journey itself. I mean, I don't think she'd won a gold as a single athlete like yet, and the fact that she's now done it in the 200, where obviously Ariana is the queen and she obviously is the star of swimming. I mean, it's so cool, and the fact that they were two of the best in the world and they're Australians, it makes it even more cooler. So yeah, I did watch it. Did you watch it?
I was going to say I was really disappointed in myself this morning, mate, because I set the alarm, I got up, flicked the alarm off, and then all of a sudden I remember waking up and it was like 20 minutes past the time that it started, and I was like, "You're kidding!
Oh no!
You're kidding!
Oh no!" Well,
you know me.
Yeah, you would have hated that.
You know me. I was mate, I was so disappointed in myself.
Well, I think Kyle Chalmers just won his heat. So I believe his final is either going to be tomorrow, like the semis, and then obviously hopefully gets into the final, which will probably be a early start again for us. So make sure you set your alarm if he obviously makes it, because we can't miss these Aussies in action because, as you said, it's so good to watch. But outside of the Olympics, mate, is there anything else exciting that's happening? Obviously, footy for both of us has been a nice little period for us both.
Yeah, it has been nice. We'll talk about that afterwards. But I reckon outside of the footy side of things, what else? I went down to the Gold Coast on Friday night just by myself because Tipper stayed here and looked after the dogs and still recovering from surgery and whatnot. But went down to the Goldie, mate. Saturday morning, middle of winter in the Gold Coast was like magic. Absolute. I know you probably hate to hear it, but mate, I don't reckon there's been a better morning where I've got up and been like, wow, this state is ridiculous.
Thanks for rubbing it in on it. As Brado's, we can't even hear him. He's rolling his eyes and I'm rolling my eyes because, mate, it has been today walking out of the house. I couldn't even see to the end of my driveway because there was that much fog. So, we're in polar opposites of what is happening for you. But it did look like good conditions for the game as well.
Yeah, it was. It was beautiful for the game. But I did catch up with Crosby, our good mate, Hayden Crozier, on the Saturday morning. So, good to see him after his big Euro trip, Euro summer. He's back from over there and back playing footy for Surfers Paradise. So love to see him down there and catch up always with Crosby.
Yeah, the great man. He did message me saying they need to win 2 of their next 3, I think, to make the finals. So up the Surfers Paradise. Hopefully you can get him to the finals, and Crosby with the nice tan and the ankle feeling good can get out there and dominate. But anything else? Anything else? Or was that it? That's the most exciting thing you did?
Yeah, not really, mate. The week was pretty short for us with 6-day break as well. So there wasn't a lot that stood out. What about yourself?
Not much. I obviously, footy preparation, but in Sydney was able to see my father-in-law Wazza, which I love seeing the great man. Went out for dinner on the Saturday night in Sydney out in Fairfield. So he obviously is from Western Sydney. That's where the Revellians are from, and went out for dinner. And, it's always nice going to Sydney, and especially out Fairfield way, because it's NRL, man. Like, it's full NRL. Very rarely do you see or hear an AFL fan. And I remember we went out for dinner at Twin Willows pub that he loves going to. So we went and got some pasta there and walked out to there's like a Woolworths and like cafe section. And, later on, it was I'd say about 8 o'clock. And Wazza said to me, how good is it, Adsy, not getting spotted, no one knowing who you are. And I was like, yeah, it's really good, mate. I swear to you, someone because we were sitting in the car, someone was at the window, like looking into the car. And then I was like, what's going on here? And then out of nowhere, he goes, oh, Treloar, he's there. And I was like, how does someone in Western Sydney, like nowhere from AFL, knew who I was? So it was pretty funny, as Wazza said that. So that was my funny story that happened on the weekend, mate.
Oh, that's good. So long as he didn't mistake you for Jordan Agoe or someone else, John Noble.
No, he did. You know what? He must have been a GWS Giants fan, because he probably remembers me from the Giants days. Because, mate, I'm telling you, where Wazza is, there's seriously, you go to the pubs and whatnot, and like these are sporting pubs, and there's like a line of framed jerseys, not one AFL jersey, just NRL, rugby union, like everything. There's no AFL. So it was pretty funny when I seen him standing at the top of the car, like staring at me. It's like, oh, wow, but yeah, actually, I did want to say something that I did really appreciate is our great friend and sponsor, Brooke. She actually flew down for my 249th. So obviously this was meant to be my 250th game, and I missed the game a couple of weeks ago with a little calf tightness. As some people are saying, it was strategic by me to play the game in Melbourne, but it wasn't, I promise you. But she committed to the flight and came down, and she made a sign for me, 249. We love ads, 249. So to have her there and in the change room, and as you know, mate, she's an enormous Western Bulldogs fan. So I seen her pre-game at the hotel. She was super nervous, and then I seen her post-game and she was super pumped. So wanted to give some love to Brooke and my mum, my stepdad, and my little brother, who also came up as well, because they booked their trip in advance as well. So I had a bit of support for my 249. So I appreciate that.
You're a good man for giving me a shout out. Hey, you mentioned that there was a grocery shop near where you had dinner.
Yes.
Did you call in and get your baguette and your peanut butter?
Mate, so why do you think I was going to the groceries? That's exactly what I was doing it for. Went in, I got the baguettes. I asked Wazza, does he have any peanut butter at home? Went home, had my baguettes, jumped into the spa with a big man, and then went back to the hotel, mate, and went to sleep. It was good.
Beautiful. Don't break the routine.
The one time I broke the routine was for you. I had the frozen yogurt, and we got smacked against Brisbane Lions. So I know Cooper and Charlie, who obviously here a couple of times, have said to me, let's go get some frozen yogurt the day before the game. And I've given an emphatic no, not a chance will I be getting frozen yogurt.
I know you'd be like that. That's so funny.
So if we could hopefully, knock on wood, if all things go to plan, we can play each other a little bit later on this year, whether it's up in Melbourne or in Brisbane, and we'll be certainly catching up with each other the day before, but there will be no frozen yogurt. It'll be nothing but peanut butter baguettes.
Oh, I like it.
But let's move on to the footy side of things. You obviously played first on the Saturday 4:35 slot, was able to watch that whole thing, and again played extremely well. Your patch of footy that you've been playing yourself individually and your team obviously has been incredible. And you had another, stellar game. I think you got 6 coaches' votes. I'm always biased. I feel like you should have won the Marcus Ashcroft medal. But yeah, it was another great game. Obviously, you knew the Gold Coast were going to take it up to you, and there was obviously periods where they did. But again, you guys were, too strong in the end. And I think for what it's worth, a little bit undermanned, especially with having Eric Hipwood go back and trying to experiment with that. It was a really impressive performance to watch.
Yeah, it was always one that we knew, and we talked about it last week, that was going to be a tough one for us. And Gold Coast haven't lost at home this year, so going down the highway, it was going to be a huge challenge. And like you said, we were a couple of men down, and Hippie had to go back. There were so many different moving parts, but I just thought it was a great performance by coming off a 6-day break, going down and playing Gold Coast, undermanned, people playing in all sorts of positions, selfless. Everything that we did on the day was really good, and to come over the top like we did in the end was it was a great effort by the boys, and certainly gives us a lot of confidence. I feel now, like sometimes injuries happen in games, and you don't really get that exposure to people playing in different positions and being able to take on different roles. But for us to show that we can do that on the weekend was really important, I feel, in terms of our growth and development as a group. So I was very impressed with the boys and the way we left it all out there, and served up a loss, or Gold Coast first loss at home this year. So it was a great win.
Yeah, I mean, you nailed that with obviously trialing a few different positional changes, as you mentioned, Eric, going down back. Do you reckon that's something that he will continue to do going forward now with obviously Andrews coming back in, or do you reckon he'll go back forward again?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's good to know that he can do it, because I feel like certainly as the game went on, he got more and more confident playing
definitely
that position. And you could see by the end of the game, he's taking intercept marks left, right and centre and doing things that he wasn't doing at the start of the game. But yeah, that was probably to be expected. And now to know that he can do that is important for us, because at any stage, say we play against you blokes and you got 3 talls or whatever, we need a bit of height down there, like they might be able to pull that trigger. So things like that will be handy to have in the back of the mind. But I just thought, it was a credit to him, the way he approached the game as a whole, and to come out on top was great.
What about the midfield battle? I mean, we spoke about that probably being a challenge in terms of the game. Not that there was any specific matchups, but it looked like you guys really met that challenge head on. And I feel like, yourself, Lockie, Huey in there, Cam Rayner again had another, unbelievable game, and he played a little bit through the midfield. It felt like you guys really wanted to own that challenge. And yeah, I believe emphatically, was on top of the Gold Coast midfield. Is that something that you guys clearly planned going into the game?
Yeah, definitely. They're one of the teams that I think, up there with yourselves, being a really contested team and love winning clearance and contested ball, and would be one of the best teams in the competition at it. So to take away their strengths and win it ourselves, and then be able to generate clearances and territory off the back of that, was important for us. So something that we always look to do against Gold Coast, and sometimes you can't get that win on the board, but if you do, it goes a long way in helping you to win games against them, because that's one of their one woods, and I feel like if you can take that away from them, it gives you a chance.
Yeah, I agree. And again, watching that, it looked like you guys really owned that side, which was great. One more thing from the game. Do you, because I think this is probably going to happen now, do you think Lockie Neal could win the Brownlow again?
Yeah, I do. I personally do. I feel like every time, if you think about every time we win, right, he's normally one of the best players on the ground.
Yep.
And so we've started to win a few games now, and he's going to poll in a lot of those games. So, yeah, I think it's similar to last year. Like, I feel like people will be talking about him this year because of what he did last year. But now that, like, we're starting to win a lot more games, I think he's a definite chance, along with yourself.
Come on, mate. We know that ain't going to happen. But he's a proven vote getter, and mate, he's form. We were talking about it today. just, if he could go again and win his third, which would make him one of, I think there's only like 3 blokes that have won 3. So, mate, it'll be an exciting vote count. Hopefully he can finish off the last 4 games well. But well done again, mate. It was a great performance and I love watching it. And I'm glad that goal you kicked at the end, you actually kicked, because the goal that was disallowed, I couldn't believe it.
Oh, mate, I was flat with that. I thought it was going to be one of the. It was going to be one of my best goals of my career. I would have been able to come on here and talk about it, mate.
I know, and I was flat because they weren't balling the ball up, and I was like, "Hang on, what's going on here?" Because went straight into the stats. I was like, "Make sure it says goal." It said goal, Dunkley. And then I was like, "Yeah, good." And then I just seen score review, and I was like, "You kidding?" Anyway, I'm glad you got the goal at the end, which was good. Oh no, mate, no Snicko. We wouldn't even have that issue. You'd have 2 snags, not 1. But another good game yet again. Well done, brother. It would have been. Well done.
Thank you, mate. Thank you. Moving on to your game, I watched this one. I was very keen viewer of this one to see how it all play out. Very impressive by you boys again. You must be happy with the way that it's all unfolding at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like I know a couple of weeks ago I spoke about, system and playing the system. And I think it was after the Carlton game because we had, I didn't play, nor did he play. Jonesy wasn't playing. We had a few injuries throughout the game. Spoke about how, that's what we want to bring and want to be known for, not dependent on someone to get us over the line, rather it be your system. And I feel like the last 3 weeks we've really been able to do that. And, when you play within your system, your natural ability and strengths as an individual will shine anyway. And, clearly they did. Clearly Jamara had another ripping game who's, could be one of the informed players of the competition at the moment. He's really firing. And I think that's off the back of, his defensive want and effort and his intent to really get up and at the ball carrier and tackle. I mean, that's clearly noticeable out there. I can't imagine what it's like watching as a fan. But, I feel like we're playing a lot to our strengths and it's really, really helping us. And I love the fact that, we've been able to play against the best sides. I mean, you look at Geelong, Carlton, Sydney on the ladder per se, they're clearly higher up there and they're clearly some of the best teams in the comp. So to be able to do that against them, it's pleasing. So it gives us good confidence, man, really good confidence going into, this week and then hopefully beyond that.
Yeah, he talks about Jamara playing well and a few other guys stepping up. I feel like there's such an even contribution amongst your team at the moment, which is very hard to stop. But yourself, mate, we got to talk about it because you're on fire. Like literally, you can't. Thanks, no one can stop you. You're going out there and you're dominating. Everyone's trying to put attention into you, and you just keep turning up. And that's what I'm saying, mate. You're a stiff for the Brownlow too, because you've had 2 weeks in a row now where you've just dominated the game and are going out there. I know you're not going to say anything about it, but you deserve some love. And this week especially, I feel like you need to take it all on board, mate, and accept it for what it is, because you really do. You're having one of the best years of your career, and I'm sure a lot of people out there would agree with me.
Thank you, mate. It means a lot coming from you. Your opinion is something I value right up there as one of my priorities. So, no, I'm just really enjoying it. I mean, as I've said to you, I'm trying not to let the emotional side of things really get to me. And I think, it has a couple of times this year, but, a perfect example, the game against Port Adelaide, I tried not to wear that emotionally after the game. And it just kind of made me be like, oh, okay, footy's footy. We didn't win, move on. Where, I feel like years gone by, and even when I've played with you, you would have known full well that I would have been a shit bloke to be around when we don't win and don't play well. So I feel like that's reflecting in clearly how I'm playing and contributing to the team, which is nice, man. It's really nice. And like we judge our performances, unfortunately, based off whether we're winning or not. And it's nice that we're winning because, say we weren't winning and you were heaping all this praise on me, I'd be like, yeah, whatever. So I appreciate it, mate. It's nice, but still 4 games to go. Want to finish the season off strongly and want to enjoy this week and then, hopefully finish off the year strong.
Yeah. Do you want to move into this week straight away? I feel like we should.
Yep. Well, you're one of the hosts of the show, so you can be the judge of that, mate, if that's what you want to do.
Nah, well, while we're talking about you, I did get sent this in from a fan off Instagram. It's on this AFL Central or whatever it is. So did you know that career games with 30-plus disposals, you've had 100 of them with 30-plus?
Yeah, I did know that because Sammy Darcy showed me at the airport.
The caption says, Adam Treloar has officially earned farmer status.
I am a farmer. You've seen me on the farm, haven't you?
I had to nearly rub that bit out because I'm like, geez, farmer, no chance. Absolutely no chance.
Yeah, no, that is pretty cool. I've seen the list there. There's some unbelievable Nader's on there. Jacko McRae's on there. So, yeah, that was pretty cool.
Nah, it's good. But no, in all honesty, this week is your 250th, and let's talk about it because I want to get a bit of I don't know, not an emotional reaction from you, but you must be proud of, how far you've come and with the family that you've got now. And if you look back and all the memories that you've created, you must be extremely proud to get to this point in your career.
Yeah, I am proud, mate. I'll save the soppy stuff for off air because I do not want to cry on the potty because I won't. I won't. I'll do that another time with you guys. But no, I am extremely proud. I've clearly had my challenges and my adversity, and to say, did I think this was how my career was going to pan out? Probably not. I never thought I'd play for 3 clubs. Getting drafted, you always want to play for the one club, but I always thought there was a realistic possibility that I was going to come back to Melbourne at some stage. And, I probably came back earlier than what I thought I would have, but I did, and I wanted to be around my family, and I did. And, I was super pumped about that decision. And, to have represented the Giants and been a foundation player there, that's something I'll always be proud of. And something that you could never take away from me, that I was a foundation player and I was a part of, as I said, the foundations of the club. I was a part of the first win. That will go down in history. I loved playing for GWS. It was where I, really grew as a man, and I had some great role models there, guys that have had an everlasting impact on me, guys like Mark Williams, Luke Power, Leon Cameron as well. These guys, really instilled some really good habits into me to make it as a bona fide footballer, and they did a tremendous job coaching me, but just being great friends and being great mentors, and they all played a significant role in me to then go to Collingwood and, have the career that I had there. I played in a grand final, which, still breaks my heart and will always break my heart, but I'll always feel a connection to that group. I did it off the back of doing 2 hamstrings at the same time, which no one gave me a chance to get back to play, and I still got back to play, albeit I wasn't running super quick, but to be able to get back and play, I was extremely proud. To play through the finals period, to have, a COVID year, playing for Collingwood, to have the girls with me. Georgia was born the day after, all the lockdowns were announced in Melbourne, and to experience that as a professional athlete, as I know you went through, which was one of the most unique times in everyone's life. That was a crazy time. It'd be remiss of me not to mention Nathan Buckley and the impact that he, had on my footy career. And he was the sole reason why I went to Collingwood, and to play under him, and his leadership and his love and his guidance was something that I will always appreciate. And I cherish my time that I spent at the Maggies, and it's quite upset when I clearly left the Maggies because I didn't want to leave the Maggies, but it is what it is, and it happened the way it happened. But, everything happens for a reason, and I wouldn't have, firstly, I wouldn't have met you at the Bulldogs, who, as I say, you are my best friend and you always will be my best mate. And no matter how much we challenge and compete against each other, as much as I won't talk to you after you beat me and I'll get pissed off at you, you'll always be my best mate. And I'm so grateful that I came to the Bulldogs for that reason. And then obviously the footy side of things, I love playing for the footy club. I really, really do. I love the red, white and blue. I love the working hard, the working class nature of the footy club. There's a great history about, obviously, the Western Bulldogs and, the Footscray Footy Club, which we are known for this week. We had a little bit of a history lesson today, which was really cool. So I've kind of just narrowed it all into a 2 to 3 minute spill there, but I wouldn't change anything throughout my career. I've loved my journey so far. I hope and I pray that there's a premiership in the next couple of years for me. But if there's not, then so be it. It is what it is. But I've loved my journey so far, and I love playing the game of footy. And I haven't loved AFL more than I have loved it now, and that's saying something from someone who has really struggled with mental health and the pressures and anxieties of playing footy. So I'm loving playing footy, and yeah, I just cherish being an AFL footballer.
Nah, well, mate, you've certainly done a lot of people proud, and I too am very, very honoured to be part of your life now, mate. And like you said, it wouldn't have happened if things didn't transpire the way that it did. So very grateful to be mates or best mates with you. And as I said before, everyone, you've got to take on board this week the Love the Year cop, because everyone's really proud of you, mates, and we all wish you the very best this week against the D's on Friday night, which I'm getting down there for. I got the tick of approval from the club to come down and watch, so it means a lot to me, and I know it probably means a lot to you, mate. So can't wait to see you on Friday night.
Thank you, mate. You know I love you. Now let's stop talking, because I'll probably start crying. I don't want to do that yet. I'll leave it for later on in the week. The round itself, was there anything like the Friday night game, man, like the Carlton Port Adelaide game? I feel like that was a bit of a statement game for Port Adelaide. I feel like, they've clearly been challenged, and it's like their losses are bad, but their wins don't really get too much credit because, whoever they're playing against, or whether it's at home. But this win for them was enormous. And I watched this game, from start to finish, and the fact that they were able to do that in Melbourne and do it with guys like Rosie and Butters not really dominating, which are 2 stars for him. It was a great performance to watch.
It was at the start of the game, I was like, oh, geez, Carlton, they're back. Like they're coming in pretty hot into this game and dominating, and just sort of hung around. They didn't really get a lot of the play in the first half, so you sort of felt like they were always there and going to come back at some point. But the second half that they played was very impressive, and like you said, it was a massive statement to the rest of the competition that, hey, we're still here. Yeah,
and as we've spoke about every week, I reckon the competition is still that even. I seen a funny video by Dan Gorringe on one of his channels where I think it was a screenshot of Hawthorn sitting at 9th, and it was like, what more do they have to do to be in the top 8? Like, they are clearly the best team outside of the top 8 at the moment. They are playing some incredible football. And I obviously didn't watch any of the game because I was playing and then travelling. But, mate, watching some of their highlights and some of their players, they are playing incredible footy.
They are. And I was checking the scores because your game was on at the same time. But it was sort of neck and neck for a bit there. And then Hawks just ended up kicking away. Like, I think they were won by 10 goals or something in the end. So, they're flying. And we talk about them every week over the last probably month or 6 weeks. So we all know how good they are at the moment. And, you'd hate to be running into them.
What's your thoughts on, because this is probably the only other talking point at the moment down here in Melbourne, Molly O'Callaghan's about to race soon in the 100-metre freestyle heat. I'll have my eye on that whilst I'm talking. But Essendon, there's a bit of talk about Essendon at the moment. And, I obviously, like, when I see stories and people coming after footy clubs, as much as, I want to be in part of a winning club, but my heart kind of does go out to some of the players. And I've seen some of the stuff, again, some of the fan vision. Did you see that where last year we spoke about the Carlton stuff? I've seen some of the Essendon stuff. What's your thoughts on that at the moment?
Well, mate, I think you know where I stand with and we talked about it last year with the Blues. Like, let's look back to go, those fans would have been cheering them, would have been saying, we love you boys, like, you're doing so well, like all the complete opposite. So I understand the emotion in the game and all that kind of stuff, but you can't shift your mindset that much that you all of a sudden you're not even supporting them. Like, come on.
I agree.
So that's where I stand with it all, but their best footy is capable against anyone, and we all know that. Totally. So they just got to keep going to work like I'm sure they are. I'm sure they're all doing exactly the same things as what they were doing earlier in the year, and it's just not clicking for them at the moment, but I'm sure it will soon.
And I think it just goes to show how even the competition is again. I mean, they can say they lost to St Kilda, who was sitting 14th, but like Mate, St Kilda are better than 14th. Their best footy's better than 14th. Like, they played, again, some great footy on the weekend, and they're starting to get some of their, like, gun players back and up and firing. It shows how good they are. I mean, if I was an Essendon fan, I would be really excited about the next 4 games because, as we always say, there's no easy teams, but legitimately there is no easy teams. Their next 4 games, 3 of them in the top 8, you're one of them, which is the last game. And then they've got the Gold Coast, who are obviously vying for a final spot as well. So, yeah, if I was a Essendon fan, I'd be really looking forward to, really seeing where the boys are at. And no doubt, being a player who's been in that situation, and you have as well, you're going to want to get out there and just prove to your teammates and to yourselves that you guys are good enough and you guys are capable. And, mate, I'll be sitting on the fence somewhat supporting them, hoping that they can, somewhat, because I know they're vying for the top 8 and we are as well, but hoping that they can play some good footy because, as you said, their best footy is good enough footy.
Totally agree with you. I look forward to seeing how they bounce back this week, especially after all this media stuff going on. It'll be interesting to see. Moving on. What do we got? What else we got? There was no real other talking points from the games.
No, I mean the derby, the Freo West Coast derby. I don't know if you watched that, but that was
I did watch a bit of it.
There was a bit of biff in that. I think there was like 17 players or something. They got fined. I mean, mate, I love watching Harley Reid play. Like, you know how we touched on earlier this year, we spoke about, the awe around West Coast Eagles when Harley Reid plays, and when Harley came out, we weren't really talking about it that much, and he came back in. And, mate, I make sure I go out of my way to watch West Coast play because I love watching him play. I love his confrontational nature. His first instinct when he gets the ball is to try and break a tackle or fend someone off. I mean, he was clearly a big target against Freo. And in saying that, he had a ripping first half. I think Freo might have sent Hayden Young or someone to him in the second half to try and nullify him. No, Nat Fyfe was playing him a little bit. But, yeah, he's going to be special. I mean, we mentioned it heaps, but, mate, he's going to be a special player.
He is going to be a special player. And speaking of that game, I want to do my Brookes Bloom of the Week because I want to give this player my Bloom of the Week. And it's not Harley Reid, but it's Elliot Yeo.
Yes.
Do you know why?
Yes, go. I do know why. Yep, tell me.
Because I just love the leadership that he's showing with Harley Reid at the moment. Like that biff on the weekend, I was watching it live, and he's gone and grabbed him and walked him away. So he was nowhere near any of the stuff that happened after the initial thing happened. So walked him away, and you could just see him clearly in his head.
Yep.
And Elliot Yeo's gone and grabbed him. He's talking him through the whole process. A similar thing happened when we played against him when he gave away a 50-metre penalty. So gave away a 50-metre to Charlie, I think it was. And you know what it's like as a player. Like some people, you walk up and you're like, come on, mate, what are you doing? You can't do that for your team and rah, and you have a bit of a banter out there. But Yoey was straight over and straight away grabbed him. It's like he's taken it upon himself to really help him. So I just love that from a senior player at the Eagles in Elliot Yeo, and obviously he's supporting one of our future greats of the game too. So I thought I'd give him my Brookes Bloom of the Week this week.
I love that, and I love that you've mentioned that because I did, mate. There's so much Brookes. Sometimes to be totally honest with you, and to our fans, when I get to the potty and we're talking, sometimes I can't think of a Brookes Bloom of the Week. But then there's a week like to this week where I've got friggin' 10 lined up. But that was something that I did see, and I loved it as well. And I loved how Jared Schofield, the interim coach at the moment, actually mentioned that and said, they're the kind of players that we need to grow the list and develop the list and whatnot. So I agree, man. That was great leadership. To get out of his own head and, show some leadership was first class. I may as well mention my Brookes Bloom of the Week because we're doing it at the same time. Mine is Jessica Fox, who won the K1 canoe. I think it's just called the K1 actually, but the K1 final, won the gold medal. That was clearly, you could see in her emotion, that was 4 years in the making. Well, really 8 years in the making, because I think she'd gone bronze, silver, then gold, or maybe she'd gone bronze, silver, silver, gold. Not entirely sure, but you could see the emotion come out as soon as she realised that she won gold. And As I was saying earlier, us as Australians, we love getting around our Aussies. And, mate, I was sitting there like a proud fan watching her receive her gold medal. And what an enormous week it's been for her, considering she was the flag bearer and then obviously went on and won gold medal. So she's my Brookes Bloom of the week. She's a superstar, and she's got a couple more events coming up. So hopefully there's a couple more golds there for her.
Love it, mate. Love it. As you said, there's a lot of people that we could be giving these Blooms of the Week to this week for sure, especially with the Olympics on. Moving on to next week's games, AFL. Let's talk about our game. So talk about yours Friday night, mate, before we move on.
Yeah, we've got obviously Melbourne, 5-day break. So, we obviously, historically we haven't played too well against Melbourne. I think they've had the wood over us since 222. I think the game that we won at Marvel when Mara kicked 5. But, yeah, they're clearly I feel like they're right there in the hunt to – play their best footy, and then they might have a week where they obviously on the weekend didn't win, but they're thereabouts. And I know they'll be well and truly getting up for this game. And, like us, they're clearly fighting for a top 8 spot. And I think Max Gawn obviously is a massive inclusion for him. He obviously missed the last couple of weeks, but having him back is huge for them. And no doubt they're going to come and, do their homework on how we've played the last few weeks and come with some plans. But as I said, mate, hopefully we can, come with the same vigor and wants the way we have the last 3 weeks and, ultimately win the game, which is nice. So looking forward to this one Friday night. Obviously love the Friday night games. There's actually 2 games on the Friday, which is a little bit weird, but looking forward to this Friday night game.
Nah, me too, mate. 250 games for you, as we've talked about. But I'm really looking forward to, because I personally think that the D's match up really well against you boys. Like you look across the ground, they've got, down back, they've got Stephen May, Tom McDonald, Jake Lever, who are going to play on your 3 big boys. Mm-hmm. In the midfield, they've obviously got Gorney, as you mentioned, Clary Oliver, and the others that are going through, like Neil Bullen's playing some really good footy for them. There's others like, Viney and all the hard heads in there too. So, and then down forward, they've got their forward line who have always got X factor with Cozzy Pickett and the like. So, yeah, it's going to be a cracking game, and I'm actually pumped to be there live, to be fair with you, because I think it's going to be a close one, and I just hope the boys get the job done for you, mate.
Thank you, mate. No, I agree with everything you just said. I think you can also throw in Trent Rivers there, who's spent a bit of time in the midfield as well. Who's really blossomed the last month and a bit, and as a player we've clearly got to watch out for. But yeah, you're right, they match up well. Clearly one of their strengths is their aerial game, and Stephen May and Jake Lever are vital in that part of it. Max Gawn as well, but we can't be winning the ball back and just blazing away inside 50, because we know we're going to play right into their hands. So we'll clearly have some plans going forward, but yeah, it's going to be a cracker. Really, really keen for this.
Looking forward to it, mate. We'll move on to mine. We are Sunday 4:40, I think, at Marvel Stadium against the Saints. And as you mentioned before, they are 14th on the ladder. But, mate, their form over the last, I'm going to say, since we last played them, so 6 weeks ago, I reckon they're 3-2. And they've beaten, part of those 3 is Sydney. Last week they beat Essendon. And then they beat one other, I think it was West Coast maybe, after we played against them in Perth. But I think their form is as good as anyone's in the competition. We're going to have to definitely be at our best on the day to compete, let alone win the game. So looking forward to the challenge. I know that they would be too. And, Ross Lyon, I remember, did a press conference a few weeks ago saying he wouldn't mind ruffling up some feathers in the back end of the year, and they certainly did that last week. So hopefully we can be there on Sunday and have a great mindset leading into the game, and that'll help us hopefully get the win.
Yeah. Because they obviously played you not long ago. I reckon it was like 8 weeks ago or so, and they really took it up to you. There was a time in the game when I thought they were going to win. Do you look at that game a little bit and try and take some learnings from that? Yeah,
definitely. I remember we actually talked about after that game that, that they showed us things that we hadn't seen before, really. Like the attacking brand that they were playing against us up here that night was very impressive, and they sliced their way through us too easily at times. So we're going to have to, I think we will look at it a little bit and definitely be ready for for what they did last time because, as I said, it wasn't something that we were expecting. So to go into this game with a bit more of an educational focus on what they did to us last time is definitely going to help.
Nice. Well, I'll be looking forward to it, mate. And I'll probably return the favour and be there and watching you in person because I've got the Sunday off, so I'll come and watch you, mate. Just make sure you save me a ticket.
Just one ticket or what?
Make it two. I might bring someone and tuck the hoodie on.
Well, you'll be sitting with Panda, mate, so you'll be right.
Oh, I'm excited for that. No, it'll be good. Oh, actually, I might see you on the Saturday too. Why not? I'll see you on the Friday, Saturday, and the Sunday. And then probably the Monday because you'll be staying overnight. So it's an exciting weekend. But, well, we may as well get into our tips as well, finish off the round because you know what? We may as well not tip because for those who obviously listen week in, week out, he actually, when I say Joshy actually got the Caleb Sarong best on ground extra 5 points in our tipping, which probably puts him up by, 50 now. So there's probably no point tipping. But for the sake of it, I guess we'll tip. So the Friday night game outside of my game is at Optus Stadium, West Coast versus the Gold Coast Suns, which Gold Coast really need a win. Who are you tipping?
Tough game. I think because Gold Coast have lost their first game at home, they're going to win their first one away and they're going to beat them.
Well, the strategy of going against it is not working, so I'm just going to agree with you. Maybe we've got to do something where we freaking extra points if you get the correct score or something like that. Anyway, North Melbourne versus Richmond Saturday Arvo, 1:45 at Marvel.
I think North Melbourne win that one.
I do too. They're playing some good footy. It'd be remiss of us if we don't mention Harry Sheasel. He's playing.
Yeah, he's
probably
dominating.
Mate, he is dominating. And, his footy and the standard of footy that he's playing, people, you could not watch the North Melbourne game and just go to the stats and just check that Sheasel's had a heap of the footy, but you've got to actually watch him play and realise how good he is. On the weekend he had 14 score involvements out of a total of 16 for the team, which is remarkable. So, he's having a incredible year. And you mentioned All-Australian at the start. Should be maybe in the squad, which is a credit to him. I'm going North as well. Geelong versus Adelaide at GMHBA.
Another good game.
It is a good game.
Every game's 50-50 these days. I'll tip the Cats at home.
I will too. I'll go Geelong as well. The MCG, Scott Pendlebury's 400th, which, as we said earlier, what a superstar he is. Carlton versus Collingwood. What a game. Only fitting that it's Carlton Collingwood for Pendles' 400th. This is going to be a ripper. This could probably be a record-breaking crowd. Hopefully the weather's good, meaning it'll probably be the largest home and away crowd for Carlton Collingwood. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge game. I think Collingwood will get the job done for Pendles. I've just got this feeling that, 400 games, massive achievement by Pendles, and as you talked about before, such a great role model for so many people out there, including myself as a young kid growing up, watching him play AFL and captaining the Pies. And I reckon that they'll get it done for him.
I do too. I do too. And again, absolute superstar. Congratulations, Pendles. You're a champion. Champion is a word you do not throw around, and he is a champion of the AFL and will go down as a Hall of Famer and a legend probably. So well done, Pendles. Adelaide Oval, Saturday night. This is a ripper. This is probably the game of the round for me. Oh, sorry. Collingwood Carlton, probably game of the round. But, Port Adelaide versus Sydney at Adelaide Oval. Sydney off the back of what? I think they're 1-4 maybe in their last 5. And Port Adelaide, obviously, home game, vying for top 4. This is a good game.
Well, I think Port at home are going to beat them. Mate,
it's hard. It is hard to pick against Port at home. Oh, mate, I think Sydney. I reckon, I'm going to say Sydney. They'll get James Rowbottom back, who's a big out. Mate, he's a big out for them. We mentioned earlier this year about how important he is. He's a grunt role player, defensive side of the game. Like they clearly miss him inside, so he's going to be big in this week for him. I'm going to say Sydney. Now, the 2 Sunday games outside of yours, we've got GWSV Hawthorn at Manuka Oval. This is a ripper, man. Two probably, probably the informed team of the comp in Hawthorn outside of you boys. And the Giants, who play Canberra as well as anybody because it's clearly their home ground, vying for top 4. This is a ripper. Who you got?
This is a big game because I think
it is.
The Hawks have gone from Adelaide into Giants away, so they got 2 away games. Yeah, so on the road, I'm going to tip the Giants for that reason. I just feel like it's a bit of a different thing traveling.
Yes,
so much.
Oh, who am I? I'm going to say the Giants too. I think, they play Canberra well, and it is the travel side of things is tough. So I'm going to go the Giants.
Yep.
Another ripper. Essendon v Freo at the MCG, 3:20. Essendon need a win. Freo obviously want to stay top 4. Who you got, mate? This is a big game. That's a big Sunday of footy.
Geez, that is a big game. Do I think the Bombers are going to bounce back? You know what? Just for the sake of it, I'm going to tip the Bombers. I think they'll bounce back this week because, they've copped a lot. And just to make it really interesting, I think the Bombers are going to win.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I agree with you. And, I'm going to say the Bombers. Bombers will make a statement and get back on top of their season and finish off the season well. So go on the Bombers, which is great. So it's a great game. Great games of footy. Again, I don't know why there's 2 games on Friday, which is a little bit weird. But, all the best, mate. Hopefully you get a win. All the best.
Thanks, mate. Me too.
What about, we got our love. Forgot about that. Give some love. I've got my player.
Right, give some love.
Yes, I'll go first. I've got mine. I was tossing up between James Peatling or Finn Callaghan. I could swear one of us has mentioned Finn Callaghan. Did you mention him earlier this year?
I might have mentioned him after we played against him because I thought he was very good against us, potentially.
Because you're doing that, I'm going to not say Finn, but he's someone I'm thinking of. I'm going to say James Peatling. I think he is going to be a star. Yeah, I'm a big fan of watching him play. I think he's got a really good balance between outside and inside. Obviously, I watch Giants quite a bit. I always watch the teams that I played for, so I do watch the Giants quite a bit. And, I reckon he's going to be a very good player. He's going to fit in really nicely as a midfielder when the likes of, Steve Coniglio and Callum Morton, these guys eventually retire. He's a star. So he's the guy I'm giving a bit of love to.
I'm giving a bit of love to Willem Drew. I don't know if you've given him love before.
I have.
So this guy to me on the weekend, watching Friday night pretty closely, I describe him as like the glue. Like he's what makes and breaks the Port Adelaide midfield, I feel, because you've got so much, of the flary side, the offensive side in, between Butters, Rosie and Horn Francis. But then you throw in Willem Drew and just that role that he plays, even Ollie Wines to a degree as well. Like the roles that they're playing in that midfield are really, really important. And, I love guys like that play roles and do the little things that not many people might reward or see. So for me, he was one that was really important on Friday night and helped them. Well, it went a long way in helping them win, I feel, his role.
I agree. And you're right with that. And Ollie Wines is another one. He has had an underrated season, in my opinion. I feel like he's, gotten back to some of his best footy. And again, he was the best player on the ground last weekend against Carlton. So it's a great time to be firing, but I like it, mate. Anything else from the round of footy previewing, or are we moving on to your question that you always ask, some random question?
Yeah, no, we'll move on to my question because this week we got it from the fans, remember? It was,
yes, we did.
So I've got them here. I've got 2. All right, away, question for ads and dunks. So this one's from Olivia.west.1. If you had to form a band with 3 of your teammates, who would you pick and what instruments would they play? And if you could only eat one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be and why? So answer those 2 questions, mate.
What? Oh, one meal for the rest of my life. So it's a meal, not a food. So I'm going to go off the question until it's a meal.
A meal.
So because if it was a food, it's donuts because I could eat them forever. But a meal. I'm going to say Something that I would never get sick of. Oh, I'm going to say I love my Italian. Probably I'm just going to go spaghetti bolognese. Go. We're not thinking – hang on. We're not thinking this isn't like this isn't like, oh, you're not going to get the right amount of nutrients or you're going to feel like shit every day. It's just purely your last meal.
Yes.
Okay. Well, spaghetti bolognese. Yep. You?
Mine would be like a Sunday roast, like a roast pork with veggies and potato.
That doesn't really surprise. Are you cooking it every time?
Yeah. Duh, then it's going to be good.
Oh, you're not wrong.
No, I'm joking.
You're not wrong.
I'm joking.
No, well, you're not wrong. No, well, you're not wrong, mate. You are actually not wrong. You cook a mean feed. That's a good question. What was the other one? A band?
Yeah, 3 of your teammates. Who would play what instrument?
I'm going to go. One teammate will be Cody Waitman. I feel like he can have that look. He'll get a lot of fans purely because he has a lot of fans. I'm going to say Waitman, he could play the drums. I'm going to say, just for a laugh, and I know he's going to absolutely hate this and he wouldn't be seen anywhere near this, but I'm going to say Big Chill, Tim English. I'm going to give him I'm going to give Chili I might give him the triangle so he can just stand there and smash the triangle. He would hate that.
The triangle.
And you know what? Libba. Can't go past Libba. I'll get Libba to play the guitar. So I'm going to go
Nice.
Waitman, Libba, and Chili. Who are you going?
All right, I'll go Rainer to play the drums.
Yep.
I'll go I'll pick Huey McCluggage to play the guitar because he's pretty classical, smooth mover.
Yep.
And I'll go Zach Bailey to play the saxophone or something rogue like that.
Because he probably can he? He can probably do that.
Or the flute. I'll get him to play the flute. He'd like that.
That's a good question. I might ask a couple of the boys tomorrow. I might tell Chili about it to make sure he has a listen because he'll have a great laugh about that. Good question.
All right. The next question is from at Midweek Chair 1636. So this is inspired by Shadow Brain's siblings thing that we did last week, and this person's own Irish heritage. So he wants you to be able to pronounce these words that I spell. Okay. So tell me how you say this. Saoirse.
Okay. Saoirse.
Yep. What is that name?
What the heck? I'm going to say Saoirse. Saoirse.
He's got it written down here as Saoirse.
What? Where's the H and the U?
The next one. Do you want another one?
Yeah, go.
Aisling.
Ling. Oh, Aisling.
Ashlyn.
No idea. No idea.
There's one more. More. Caoimhe.
What? That's not even a word.
Yeah, it is.
Is it a name?
Yes.
Oh, mate. Kaoami?
Kiva.
What? Where's the V? Where's the K? Where's the E? Like, no.
Kiva. Anyway, that was a good one. I love that.
Kiva.
From the Midweek Chair, 1636.
Well done, Midweek Chair. Appreciate it. Well done. Should we get Brado on? Brado to
let's get Brado on.
Get him on.
I thought because you didn't throw to me, I've been working away behind the scenes to do a bit of, in honour of Ad's 250th, what was happening at the time of his debut. So Ads debuted round 3, 2012, v West Coast, lost by 81 points. That was the 15th of April, 2012. Correct so far. You had 17 touches and a goal. You kicked one of the last goals of the game 2 minutes to go. Kevin Sheedy gave a little fist pump. Luke Shuey played that game. He had 25 touches, kicked 5. So he had a quiet one. But we'll get into the important stuff because the number one song at the time of your debut was Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen.
Wow.
The number one movie in the box office was Hunger Games. It was topped the box office for 4 weeks in a row. But the movie that released the day of your game was American Pie Reunion.
No way. It's a great movie.
A couple of big news stories. We got the biggest news story of the day. It was the 100th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic.
No way.
And in sports, Joe Vitt is named the interim coach of the New Orleans Saints for 2012 to replace Sean Payton, who was suspended earlier in the year for his role in the New Orleans Saints bounty scandal.
Oh, I remember that.
So they were putting bounties on players to go out and injure them. So they had to step down the coach. And a fan paid $100,000 for 1 day with Jets quarterback Tim Tebow. $100,000. Who would pay? Someone would pay $100,000 for a day with you?
Not me. I'd try and pay for hang out with MJ or someone.
Yeah. Music, the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the Beastie Boys, and the Guns N' Roses were all entered into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Love that.
Big day. And obviously we know, Ads, you're right into your politics, so I'll leave this one for last. The new North Korean leader, Kim Jong-un, made his first public speech.
Wow.
Beautiful. Well done, Brado.
All that happened on your game or the week leading up to it.
That's pretty cool. Thanks,
That's
mate.
huge.
I appreciate that.
No worries. And congrats and good luck out there on the weekend.
Appreciate it, Brado.
Brado, you got to give us the tipping update, please.
It's brutal because Ads had a great week on the tips. He got 7. 7's that's a good week. But unfortunately, Dunks somehow got 13. He got the 13 for the week.
He's flogging me. Let's just be real.
He's flogging you. Yeah, I reckon it's probably up around the 20 mark. I got to do some calculations. But you'll catch him this week after doing one or two different tips.
I'm sure I will. Thanks, Brado.
Over to you guys.
Oh, geez. I love beating you in something for once, especially this week when it's all about you and you can just bring you back down to earth a little bit, you know.
Oh, I'm well and truly back down to earth. Don't you worry, mate. No, been a great episode. Once again, thank you for the love that you've given me. I do want to quickly, before we finish, thank again. I didn't want to finish the episode without thanking Kimmy and Georgie and my family for the support that they've given me. I'll obviously give them a bit of love throughout the week, but I wouldn't be able to do what I do without their love and support. And everything I do is for my family and especially for my girls, Kim and Georgie. And to have Georgie running out through the banner with me on Friday is going to be well and truly the proudest moment of my life. And, to have her there supporting me and being there with me is something that I cannot wait. I'm more excited about that than anything else, to be honest. So I love you both very much. I know it's been challenging the last few years being away from each other, but I appreciate the love and support, and I wouldn't be where I am without you girls. So love you guys.
Well said, mate. And from all of us here at the podcast and in the wider community, we want to wish you all the best too, and congratulations again, because like I said earlier, you've been an inspiration to so many, mate, and including myself and many others, I'm sure. So congrats again and all the best on the weekend, and we hope you get the 4 points.
Thanks, mate. I'll see you down in Melbourne. Go Dogs.
Absolutely. See you, brother.
This episode is brought to you by our friends at Brookes Blooms, your all-in-one landscaping solution.
Brookes Blooms' 3-step landscaping experience offers a seamless journey from design to construction and ongoing care, ensuring your outdoor space thrives year-round.
Visit brooksblooms.com today to embark on your landscaping journey, where every step is a step towards a vibrant and beautiful outdoor entertaining space.